Hey guys, welcome to Disenthrall. Today we have, I think, a happier, more exciting, more hopeful show for you than we have recently.
Yeah.
I am Patrick.
I'm Ryan.
And we are bringing you Disenthrall.
Hell yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have one new development today on the show that I want to announce because I'm very excited about. We have a friend that we have recently met and we've been hanging out with a lot, and he is a professional in the video industry that has been really upping our game. On this side, we have much better audio, we have much better video. We are really kicking ass on the live streaming front when Verizon doesn't mess with us like they seem to be doing today. But his name is Kaysen, and hey Kaysen, everybody say hi.
Hello.
Hey-o.
Hello. Hello.
Awesome.
Look at that guy.
So as kind of his introduction or hazing, maybe, to bring him on the show, we took him to the gun range because that's how you should do it.
Yeah, right.
And this was his first time ever shooting, so this was a really neat thing. And because he's been in the news industry, it was a great time to test out the PTSD that's been going on around a lot amongst reporters and news people that are shooting guns for the first time, shooting ARs for the first time. So we have that for you. Why don't we go ahead and hit that?
Today we got a treat for you guys. We have our friend Kaysen, who is going to be joining us for an afternoon of shooting at the range. This will be his first time in the history of time shooting, right?
Yes, first time. Absolutely. First time.
And how much experience have you had previously?
None shooting.
'Cause it's the first time?
I've been around people who hunt. I've videoed hunts where guns were dropped.
Oh boy.
That was stressful. No, they didn't. They were safe, but man, that was scary.
Okay, so he's worked for major news-making organizations, so I think we're gonna do some testing of some PTSD theories today.
Hell yeah.
Should be interesting. Hopefully you come away from it outside of a mental hospital.
I will endeavor to not be afflicted with any acronym. I will endeavor to do so. Nice.
Awesome, guys. Here we go.
So, what are we doing here?
We're just gonna go through the entire thing with no ammo first.
Okay, cool.
So start to finish.
You got it.
Guns open on the table, pointed down range. You
Yep.
have your clip. Let's pretend it's full of ammo.
Okay.
Okay? Pick up your gun. Now, all the actions that we take, the pistol stays pointed down range.
Okay.
So no flipping sideways to load the magazine. You know, no like looking at it sideways or anything crazy, right? All right.
Okay.
So, magazine in. If it were full of ammo, it would be ready to shoot after you release the slide. So with your thumb, push down. There you go.
Okay.
All right. So now there would be a bullet in the chamber, and it's cocked.
Okay. So that's cocked.
That means cocked. And this
Okay.
would be up if there were a round in the chamber.
Okay.
But there's not because we're pretending.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. 5 rounds.
Very good. Same pattern. I'm just gonna, basically, if I do this, there's a serious problem freeze, okay?
Okay. You got it.
So go for it. There you go. Good job. There you go. Okay. Line those 3 dots up on that top red one. Boom! First hit. 3rd round. There you go. What's up? We're done. We're done here. Perfect accuracy now.
I think I still have one more in there.
Yeah, you do.
I thought you said we're done here, as in like it's out. I'm like, I think it's still got more in.
You don't need any more help. There you go.
Ooh.
Well done. Very well done.
There we go. That goes fast.
Coming up next on Scare the Local Journalist Guy, this big scary black rifle. Might get PTSD from that. Here we go.
Here we go.
With grenade launcher.
It's kind of anticlimactic at this point.
All right. Mom, I love you.
Oh God!
And I feel so.
How do you feel? How do you feel?
So post-traumatic stress. I'm crying. Actually, this is just sweat, but I'm crying.
Oh God!
I can't handle this.
Thanks, guys.
We just shot the AR-15, and he's
trembling.
I think his face tells all. I think he pretty much has a severe form of PTSD. It seems that the man was right, and what he enlightened us all. What did you experience, sir, while you were shooting this assault rifle?
The Armalite, yeah, it kicks less than the handgun does. Like
Don't say that. You're ruining everything.
I mean, it was really scary.
What happened was it dug into my shoulder, right?
And it
Permanent nerve damage.
it took me back to Nam.
How old are you?
Don't ask that question. No, I mean, in all honesty, that was a piece of cake compared to the pistol. I was more worried about the pistol.
It is harder to shoot the pistol because with this, there's all kinds of support with your shoulder. You can hold it real nice and tight. You've got really good aim.
It felt like I was holding a camera.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
with the pistol, it's all about how tight you can grip that thing. So
Right.
this is, if anyone's gonna get PTSD, it's from a pistol, not an assault rifle.
Yeah, I saw the 357 Magnum. That's
Yeah.
the one you had.
Yeah.
That was a loud thing.
If you give that thing a dead fish grip, it's gonna come and smack you right in the face. Then you might actually get PTSD.
Yeah, or a concussion, self-concussing. Yeah.
Broken nose.
Yeah, definitely.
But-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tool, and I tried it, and it didn't kill me. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And
Didn't kill anyone else either.
it didn't kill anyone else. That's
Right.
important. There was no school children or anybody else in the target range.
Except for that 2D paper fucker, he's dead.
That 2D guy is so toast. He's so torn up
He
we
is
couldn't even bring him with us.
toast.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so much fun though, right?
I enjoyed it. I would do it again. I would give it 2 Whoopi Goldbergs, way up. Whoopee! I would do that. And I like thanks for getting me these
purple
little
ear
purple
Yeah.
ear protection and the pink visor.
Yeah, we just wanted to match your outfit, dude.
Yeah, I kind of dig it. So that was nifty.
That's awesome. Cool.
Anyway, thanks for having me
Yeah,
out.
yeah, let's do it again,
Let's
man.
go get some food.
All right.
All right. Well, there you go, Kaysen.
That was awesome.
I had fun. I gotta say, like, out of all the news people, all the news people
It is
too.
news people, yeah.
But out of all the new shooters that I've taken out, you were the most. You paid attention. You were focused. You were detail oriented. You followed the exact instructions I gave you. That was the best new shooter experience I've ever had.
Thank God.
I gotta say.
Because the previous time whenever we took new people out, I had a gun pointed at my face.
Yep.
Inadvertently.
We will not mention who.
Yeah, we won't mention who, but fuck you. No, but
No. It was actually awesome. It was almost like you memorized the exact instructions I gave you, and you were methodical about it, man. I mad props to that. Most new shooters are scary as F.
yeah.
So
Extremely.
I just want to be safe
see,
and make sure eye protection,
Hey,
ear protection.
You think you're taking the safety thing a little too far?
we're not the range anymore, man.
What's
there,
going on?
I see something on the table that we'll talk about a little bit later. I'm ready for this.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yeah.
and it's actually pointed at you. So
Oh, no. Oh, no.
that's breaking the range rules. We'll get to that in a minute, though.
It's reminding me of the old days. Again.
No, man. Seriously, mad prop. Like I usually hate taking new shooters to the range. It's it's nerve wracking, and
Yes.
you have to be hyper focused. And we were doing video that day, so I'm not only am I training a new person, but I'm also distracted because I'm helping with the camera. So it was awesome.
It was a pleasure. And anybody who's not gone out and shot, find someone who's qualified to take you out and not sorry, not like execute you, but to take you to the range and instruct you on some basic rules of safety. And I really liked being able to walk through the whole setup with no bullets in a magazine in the chamber. And it's just like, we're going to pretend from start to finish. That's why I included that in the video. It's like, we're going to pretend from start to finish.
Yep.
So you have the muscle memory down, and it's like, okay, I don't feel like a complete Nimrod, and I can't kill someone right now, so this is good.
Yep.
And then going into it and taking your time and stuff like that. So it was actually really a pleasant experience.
And then by your third shot, your accuracy was basically 100%.
That's the Call of Duty talking at that point.
Yeah.
It's all those video games. I'm like,
Extreme gamer tag, yo! I'm ready to go. Yeah. Headshot.
It was good times. Good times.
awesome.
We had a competition on one of the shooting trees, but it just went all sideways, so we cut that. But
Yeah.
we'll have to do that again. Though. We'll have to do more range days.
It's just
man.
too
so much fun.
embarrassing for Patrick.
Yeah, that's.
I can attest that is actually not the case at all. Ryan, you're lying out of your teeth right now.
Oh yeah.
False. Prove it.
You had never shot the gun before. Anyway,
Yeah, it's all good.
so you had something next, right?
Yeah, dude. All right, so let me bring it up here. Yeah, I actually was listening to a podcast and they brought this up. The good old war on drugs. This brought it down to a serious level here again.
You're bringing it down.
I
this
know,
time.
right? Damn it.
I've got
All right.
happy stories.
Hey
today.
guys, we went out shooting. Now we're going to talk about the war on drugs.
Yep.
What's
going on?
You might know this guy if you can bring up the first picture. This douchebag right here, named Richard Nixon. They released this interview with his domestic policy chief. His name is John Ehrlichman. If you can bring him up, if you can see.
How
him.
awesome is that? I just want to say, how awesome is that we can say, can you bring that? Can you throw that up?
Yeah.
And it just happens. It's magical.
Yeah, if you look at him, you can tell he's thinking about how to fuck people over and put them in jail for not doing a damn thing.
Just the look on his face.
Yeah, he's really contemplating how can I put a massive amount of people in jail for nothing. Basically, this 22-year-old interview with Nixon's domestic policy chief has finally been released. In this interview, John, or Ehrlichman, tells the truth about the motivation behind starting the war on drugs.
Okay.
So Nixon's, basically during Nixon's campaign and presidency, he had two main enemies: the anti-war left, which are hippies, and black people, basically. And they needed a tool to combat these enemies. So Ehrlichman said in an interview, basically, he said, "We knew we couldn't make it illegal to either be against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities." He also said that we could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
This is a quote?
Yeah, quote from.
And who's talking?
This is Ehrlichman. This is the domestic policy chief of Nixon's campaign.
In the cabinet?
Yes, while in White House.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So it's funny because this is why Nixon said that he was starting the war on drugs. He said, this is not a quote, but his post statement was that a response was needed to the increase in heroin addiction and the rise of use of marijuana and hallucinogens by students, is what his reasoning was for starting the war on drugs publicly. But behind the scenes, it's obviously a totally different picture. And from Nixon's White House recordings, it was also found that he ridiculed minorities often. And with the Vietnam War raging, it seemed that he had plenty of motivation to create this cruel plan.
When did he say that? The first quote that you read about where he seemed to reveal why they started the drug war?
Don't know the year, but this all happens in the 60s.
So this was like a public thing that people could have known about back then?
This was a quote with it was from an interview with a man named Dan Baum, and this guy just never released that quote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was he was doing interviews for a book that he was writing, and he interviewed this guy John Ehrlichman, and didn't use that quote in his book because it didn't really fit in. And then, like 22 years later, he remembered that he had this crazy-ass quote from this guy, and he decided to release it out into the public.
Why would this guy have said that?
John? Okay, so this he actually covers it because Ehrlichman's children, he had like 4 children, all say that they never felt their father was a racist or despised minorities, and say that they raised their children the same way that they were raised, which did not include racism. Which, I mean, of course, is totally solid proof, right? It's like, I wasn't raised like that, so how could he, and I don't raise my children that way, so how could he be a racist? I'm not a racist, basically is what they're saying. The original interviewer, Dan Baum, said this about Ehrlichman, quote, "These guys, they knew they'd done bad things, and they were glad, finally, when it was no longer going to cost them anything, to be able to talk about it, to atone for it." He kind of made the association with war vets and how they don't want to talk about the really bad experiences in war until years and years later they'll bring it up finally. And of course, these guys have already gone through the presidency and being in the whole campaign and all that.
So this is he said
cost.
this years after the campaign.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Seems like there should still be a cost, because the cost of that action is still being
I guess
borne.
they weren't they weren't doing any political office related stuff anymore.
What if this guy's alive?
I mean, Nixon's whole reputation was ruined after Watergate, so there was no hope
Right.
for him doing anything after that anyways. So,
But I wonder if this guy that said that is alive.
No, he's not. He's no longer alive. That's
Okay.
why they had to talk to his children about him. Yeah.
I would have totally tried to interview him.
Oh, definitely.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Ugh.
Yeah, nothing really has really affected me the most with some of U.S. policies, like the drug war. Nothing's really pissed me off the most, except for that, because a long time ago I watched a Vice video, and it had these DEA officers basically tricked this kid that was in high school. This kid was kind of had some kind of like a mental handicap a little bit, so he didn't have any friends in high school. And
I remember the story. Yep.
Yeah, and the DA officers went undercover in their high school and made friends with this guy, which he was so glad that he had some friends finally. And they asked if he had any weed or marijuana, or whatever. And, he had never dealt with drugs in his life. But because he wanted to impress the people and finally he had friends, he wanted to stay friends with them, he went out of his way to find people that dealt drugs and bought marijuana from them to give to the undercover DEA officers.
So he could keep his friends,
And
his only
it
friends.
ruined him. And what's funny is that whenever he was caught for this, he wasn't pissed that he was getting in trouble for the drugs. He was mad because he was deceived and he didn't really actually
And
have
didn't
any
have friends. Yeah.
That was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking monsters. I
There's-
couldn't believe it.
There's so many monsters.
Yeah.
It is scary what humans will do when they think that they are righteously justified in their actions.
Yeah. Yeah, and it tore their parents up too, man. It was a
course.
devastating story.
Well, the list is infinite by now. People get their doors kicked down and innocent people get shot dead because they picked the wrong house. I mean, we could tell stories for days on the evils that I guess this guy's decisions wrought. This guy's participation with Nixon.
Right. Yeah. So
brought us.
I mean, it just basically just shows that the motivations, they just flat out lied about why they created this drug war, and that it was, of course, not the government trying to protect the people or the children or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, no one ever goes back and kind of connects the dots. The arc of the story never gets kind of brought full circle. So here we are way later. It's like we need to go back and rewrite this guy's epitaph. to say, oh yeah, and he did this, he died at, he was born this year and died this year. Oh, and also he's responsible for all these deaths and all these harms and all these destroyed families and lives.
Yeah.
And period.
Yeah,
because that was this guy's history.
One of the largest things that we think is happening is that that could change the course of our future is these kids growing up without like fathers and stuff like that. And it's a large majority of these fathers are being put in jail for victimless crimes, and then the kid ends up not learning the correct things when growing up because his father's in jail. It's amazing how many sections of society that this war on drugs has gone into and how it's affected people.
Pretty much everything.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So yeah, the first thing is that the people involved, the politicians need to be held morally culpable for the effects of everything that rolls out of this. All these butterfly effects roll back to them. Like, that is on them to begin with. The fact that they lied about it to convince the American people to go along with it, that's just another problem on the list of problems.
Right.
And the lying to the American public should be thought of more as a problem with the government, the existence of the state that allows this central power to be in a position of being able to lie to people to convince them to let it do these things. Right?
Right. Yeah. So.
Well, thanks for bringing that one.
I mean, super important though, because.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think you have 2 in a row.
Oh, sweet. All right, let's do another one here. So this one is about WikiLeaks. I labeled it WikiLeaks versus Facebook because they had a little back and forth, I guess. Basically, back in March, WikiLeaks received the entire archive of Hillary Clinton's email server, a private email server that she allegedly has.
Allegedly.
And it had been released before, but WikiLeaks was going to release it in a more like searchable format, so people could easily look through all our emails and find out all the juicy details about how she fucks up everything, basically. And so they released this entire archive of emails, and then they tried to post the release on Facebook.
Okay.
And if you could, on the screen right now, you'll see the left tweet shows the error message basically they got when they tried to post this to Facebook. It said that they might have like some kind of a threatening program or Chrome extension that prevents them from posting this to Facebook.
What?
And they're basically like, stop playing around Facebook. Like, this is dumb. Like, yeah, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can. Stop censoring our Hillary Clinton email release. No, really, stop it. There's no technical excuse.
Yeah.
Sorry, this action isn't available right now as security precaution. You can't take this action because your computer may be infected.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and they're like, we're a huge technology company. I'm pretty sure that this is not
WikiLeaks.
Right. Yeah.
Probably one of the more secure entities.
Yeah, right. No shit. Yeah, they know almost everything about security. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they were basically claiming outright censorship. So this was back in March, and let's see. So actually, during this whole Brexit vote, Julian Assange and 2 other people, I don't know really who they are, but they had a 7-hour-long live stream during this Brexit vote.
Assange did.
Yeah, Assange and these 2 other guys. And during this live stream, they talked, Julian Assange brought up how Google and Facebook both tried to kind of sway the vote, the Brexit vote, towards them staying with the EU. And the way that Facebook did it was they did this whole get out to vote campaign.
They always do it every year, right?
Right, but this is specifically for their UK users.
I didn't know that, okay.
Yeah, so all the UK users, they sent out this new, they did the post where like, have you voted yet?
Yep.
And it's like, yes or no. And of course, like most of the population on Facebook is going to be the younger population who the majority of them wanted to stay with the EU. So it was kind of like this whole get out to vote for staying, of course.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the Brexit vote was basically Britain taking a popular vote, not through
referendum.
representatives, a referendum vote to exit the EU. And that's what they're calling Brexit. Britain exit the EU.
Yeah, Britain
right?
exit from the EU, yeah.
And I think we need to kind of get it going for Texit for Texas, but that's a separate topic.
Definitely.
South will rise again. Texas is on its way.
Boy, those guns really got to him.
Yeah, right?
Surprise.
He's going 100% that way.
Yeah, so I actually, the entire globe has been on this trajectory of like smaller government to larger government, more centralized control, not less. And so I just instantly predicted that, it's just like I think Scotland tried to exit. There was
They tried to gain independence from the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that failed, and I wasn't surprised. And now we have Brexit, and I was totally expecting it to fail. And then I think we just happened to we were prepping for this show.
Yeah, we rolled up on the website.
And I was like, hey, let's just check the results. It's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on.
It was incredible.
And they, as we were watching, declared it for Brexit. Like Britain is, according to the referendum, exiting.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I was really surprised. That is the first large sort of instance of, it's hard to say localization because we're still talking at the country level, but of the trajectory not going towards more centralization, bigger government, bigger conglomerations, more centralization of control. It's the first time that I can remember in recent history where things are getting broken up and going smaller. And I don't know, that was kind of uplifting. I was kind of pumped by that. I'm like, I mean, I'm sure you have other things to talk about on this, but like, if we can just kind of keep that trend going, like we don't need these centralized axes of control. Let's just keep Brexiting until it's down to the person, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's keep exiting these large groups until we get down to the person, and then we can build them back up voluntarily based on consensual interaction between people.
Yeah.
But just seeing, even at this level, I don't care what level it's at, seeing things become more voluntary, even at that level, makes me happy. I got pumped.
At the same time, Patrick, oops. Haha, you need the mic. At the same time, they're actually already trying to trigger a re-referendum and a re-vote right now. That's what's trending right now in the social sphere.
Yeah.
People who are heartbroken and they're trying to undo what has been done.
Yeah, basically, we can talk about it. So basically, they've done this before with the Scotland vote and all that. They continue to do referendum after referendum until they get the result they wanted to begin with. So yeah, there's already right after the vote was finished, they were like, second referendum coming up, and that's all the mass media was talking about was the second referendum. They didn't even talk about how the people who voted and won by majority won. They didn't even talk about that. They went straight to, hey, second referendum coming up. Hopefully we get the result we wanted. Of course, they didn't say the last part, but yeah.
Here's how votes should work in a moral world. In an ethical world, let's say we have 100 people, and let's say 51 of them vote to leave the European Union. Let's just say the European Union is 100 people and 51 vote to leave. The other 49 get to stay. Or let's reverse it. Let's say 51 of the 100 people voted to stay in the European Union. The 49 people get to leave because individual consent is key. Consent is morality. Consent is ethics. Individual consent, not this group amalgamated sort of, we all just kind of decide to go with what the group forces on us. No, if 49 out of 100 people want to leave EU, their vote just basically says, I'm out, guys. 49 people are no longer in the EU. That's how ethical voting works. And of course, democracy fails when that happens, right? Yeah. So even in the current voting paradigm where majority wins, majority forces their opinions on the minority. If you can just continue to vote, you've broken democracy.
Yeah.
Democracy is meaningless.
Right.
It's completely pointless at that. I mean.
Yeah. And there's a lot of interesting things that are going to happen now since they have left the EU because so many countries are basically collapsing in the EU, and then they have to get all this financial support from the main bank, and that support needed falls on a lower amount of countries now. So every country has to increase the amount of money they have to give to the EU each year. And so it gives them more of an incentive to leave themselves. So really, if you think about it, like there's only one country that wants to stay in the EU, and it's Brussels. They're the head of the EU.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
they control this mass controlling machine that controls an entire continent. And
It's kind of the inverse of the consensual voting or the consensual tax-paying argument, right? So like people say, well, I voluntarily pay taxes. And I challenge them on that. I'm like, do you actually voluntarily pay taxes? And they're like, yeah, you can't tell me I don't voluntarily pay taxes. I'm like, okay, well, let's move this to a discussion about a world, kind of a free world, right? So everyone voluntarily pays taxes. Is everyone going to volunteer to pay the same amount of taxes? Or might you pay $5 less than me just because maybe you wanted an extra burger that month? And when I discover that you're able to pay a little bit less than me, well, I'm going to match yours. And then, you're going to have another guy that's like, yeah, screw that. I disagree with the wars. I disagree with the war on drugs. I disagree with XYZ, whatever. I'm not paying anything. I'm not supporting this. It goes against my ethics. And so he's paying nothing. And so now you got let's say you have some percentage of the population that's paying nothing. Are you still going to pay the same amount to cover those people that aren't paying anything? Of course you're not. Who would? So the way it works is, in a free world, even with voluntary tax paying, eventually it's going to work itself down to where if you think you want to pay your taxes, you're going to be paying all of them.
Yeah.
And so
Maybe there's someone that wants to do that.
that's only part of the argument. Let's say that's possible. The other part of the argument, though, is that, that's easy to show that if it were a free society, you would certainly not be paying the same amount you are now. So in a free society, so the point is you're not consensually paying taxes now because you wouldn't be paying the same amount in a free society.
Mm-hmm.
And so to take that over to that situation, when Britain leaves, now the other countries are paying more.
Mm-hmm.
So are the other countries going to want to stay in the EU? Or are they going to want to get out?
Hell no.
So it's kind of a chain reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And the more freedom you introduce, the less that system works.
Yeah. The UK was kind of a perfect storm, though, because they have their own currency.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, they don't depend on the euro. Also, some other really cool things that happened with that vote was you saw the large age divide, and you saw how poorly informed the younger population was. Some actually believe that because Britain or the UK voted to leave the EU, that they wouldn't be part of Europe anymore. Like that they would just build this cultural wall around the island, and you couldn't even visit any of their countries and stuff like that.
Like, why would they do that?
I have no
Why in
idea.
the hell would they do that? That would be suicide.
But there was this really good point that Stefan made on an interview, actually, that the people, the older population, that the younger population was saying, why the hell should their vote even matter? They're not even going to have to live with this for very long. They actually said that bullshit. They were saying in the interview with Stefan that these older population of people actually know what it's like to live in the UK without being part of the EU.
Mm-hmm.
And they've seen the transition.
Mm-hmm.
So they obviously don't fucking like it because they voted to leave the EU.
Not only that, but they've paid their dues.
Yeah.
So if anyone's vote should count, it's the one that have been paying into it the
they've
longest.
been stolen from the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been interesting. But yeah, going back to the WikiLeaks thing, I told you why Assange was talking bad about Facebook, but he was also pointing out that Google, during the vote, on their front page, had also a voting campaign kind of thing going on, and the link that they provided went straight to the UK government's website, where they had some kind of video playing about the Brexit vote and stuff like that.
Like pro or anti-Brexit?
Well,
exit?
the UK's government is totally pro staying in the,
Gotcha.
in the EU. So
Okay.
that's what he was trying to claim, is they're kind of manipulating people into voting in certain ways.
So while these private companies are not, what am I trying to say? So a private company is generally going to be better than a government, but I think a lot of people have this assumption that we can trust Google to be impartial. Google doesn't give a shit about being impartial. Why would they?
Exactly.
They're a corporation trying to make some money. Facebook, same thing. These are companies, right? They can have opinions. The guys that run them have opinions. Those companies belong to the guys that run
No,
them.
well-
You know, I don't think we should ever. I think we should stop this wanting or assuming Google's impartial.
Yeah, well, here's my argument. Okay, so the Facebook had that problem where they weren't promoting conservative articles to the top stories section of their website.
Yep.
And so
Facebook,
yeah.
Yeah, right.
And so the CEO went to DC and was trying to talk with conservatives in DC and say like, hey, we're doing a new initiative to take out the bias in our company. And right after that, that same person, the COO of Facebook, came out and supported Hillary Clinton right after the talk.
Yeah.
So, but I think that what the problem is that Facebook claims that they will show you in their top story section the top stories
Yeah.
in the world. And all they have to do is say, we'll show you the top stories in the world as long as they're not conservative. That's all they have to say.
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have an what am I saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Just be
Facebook's
truthful.
allowed to show whatever the F they want on their own website. It's their own website. Is it a shitty thing to do? Are people going to lose trust in Facebook if they continue to filter and manipulate? Yes. Are people going to stop paying attention to Facebook as a news source if they go down that road? Probably, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's probably a bad business move. But are they allowed? Yeah, it's their
completely.
site,
But
right?
but it's still bad to lie to your customer.
It's a
base.
shock. It's a
Yeah.
shock to people that just that trust this thing. Facebook is in everyone's lives constantly.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me, less you, because you got rid of that shit
Fucking
like
hate
6
Facebook.
months ago. But, like for me and my wife got rid of Facebook too. Maybe this is telling. Like my
Well,
wife
I didn't
is.
get rid of it because of this
I know,
controversy.
yeah.
I got rid of it because nothing good ever happens on Facebook. So
It's a bunch of useless argument.
Yeah.
But I'm still very much stuck in Facebook, and I'm actually kind of trying to think about transitioning away. But yeah, it was shocking to me because when you interact with something every day, you just kind of grow an expectation of, hey, this is my Facebook.
Right.
This is
You
my
get comfortable.
This is my Facebook.
yeah,
You
you
know?
get comfortable, and that's
I'm part
dangerous.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like this Remy LeBeau is saying right now, the whole Google thing with their top search results. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
The Clinton.
Yep.
You search for like Clinton IND, and it doesn't fucking come up and say Clinton indictment.
Yeah.
It's like, are you serious? That's
Yeah.
that's
says,
what
like,
everybody's searching for right now. and you're not
Clinton,
gonna
India,
say it.
or something, right?
Yeah, India. It
Yeah.
said Clinton, India.
Clinton, India.
No one gives a fuck about that. I want to know about her indictment.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, moral of the story, I guess, is don't get comfortable and believe that a private company is going to not take their bias into the equation, because they can totally do that and it's fine. But
It's
still,
shitty.
lying to your customer base is still a shitty thing to do.
Yeah. I agree with that. All right, cool.
Next.
Next, we have some fun stuff. All right, let me get this going here.
I brought the serious talk here.
Yeah, I got the fun stuff going. All right, so I found this. This is a quiz that will tell us a very important piece of information about ourselves.
Sweet.
I mean, this is serious business, and this could be life-changing, right?
Okay.
All right, we're going to find out with 17 questions if we are sexist.
Not possible.
Are you sexist? You-
Nah, man.
Definitely not?
No.
Okay, I don't think I am.
Right.
Well, let's find out for sure.
I'm not,
Okay.
guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. So
Okay, creepy voice.
3 out of 3. 3 out of 3, no sexism. Here we go. Question number 1. Many women have a quality of purity that few men possess. Disagree? Agree? Many women have a quality of purity that few men possess. Are women in general more pure than men? I think is the question.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking course not. There are some evil women, and then there are some evil bastard men. you
No,
know?
they're all angels.
All right, so I'm going disagree strongly.
Okay, cool.
All right, many women have quality purity. Okay, yeah, we disagree.
I agree with your disagreement.
Nice. See,
See.
women should be, number 2, women should be cherished and protected by men. Women should be cherished and protected by men.
Like
Disagree
like
or
a
agree?
little furry bunny rabbit in your hands.
Like a little tiny baby.
Yeah, disagree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
I
what's
mean,
happening here?
I guess this brings up chivalry, right? Which is
Oh, okay.
which I think is an awesome thing.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, it's growing up in Texas. I love sort of being a protector that feels right to me, for me personally. So I don't have a problem having that be me. Am I going to make a blanket statement and say that I'm going to protect all women because they have vaginas? No, I'm
Yeah.
going to protect the good women, the virtuous women that are in my life and have formed quality bonds with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And only if they want me to, obviously. So like my wife enjoys, I think, and she can speak for herself if she wants, but my wife enjoys the quality of me, I think, that is that protector, that guardian, and I enjoy being that. And so we are in a relationship that works. Because that lines up.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
If
Which option do I click for that answer? is that on the list? No. Okay.
If I see like Lucy from I Love Lucy and Hillary Clinton right next to each other, and there's like a boulder falling from the sky, I'm running for Lucy.
Dang.
I'm running.
Dang. Next question. Number 3. Women seek to gain power by getting control over men.
Women seek to get power by
Agree or disagree? Women seek to gain power by getting control over men.
some women, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is a sexist question.
Yeah.
Some women.
Yeah.
So for us to, make a blanket statement about women would be as sexist as this quiz is trying to see that we are, right?
Right.
Certainly some women,
Yeah.
manipulate and gain power by getting control over men, right? But some. So how do we answer this? I feel like
question.
like where's the NA? Where's the? I don't want to answer this one.
Yeah. Where's the some?
So
Where's the stupid
we,
question?
Should we go like agree slightly?
I mean, that
let's just do
sounds
it.
like a kind of
All
like presenter point or represent their point, right?
I mean, there's a lot of awesome women out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shitty women out there.
Right.
So there should be like a
hashtag yes all women.
Exactly. All right, number 4. Every man ought to have a woman whom he adores. Every man ought to have a woman whom he adores. I would say no, because there's gay people.
Perhaps that number 1, yes, that's a good one.
Some guys just decide that they don't want to be in a relationship. So I
Yeah.
don't really know where this is going.
This is a weird question.
I'm just going to say disagree.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah.
All right. Men are incomplete without women. I'm going to say disagree.
Yeah.
This is easy, right?
Yeah, I'm 100% a whole person right now.
Women are not incomplete without men, and the vice versa is true.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
definitely.
All right. Number 6. Women exaggerate problems that they have at work. What? What? This is another one. Like, some people do it.
Yeah.
Of both sexes, and some people don't.
There's no way to make a blanket statement about that.
So-
I think I'm seeing a pattern here.
Of sexist questions?
I'm not going to comment on what may or may not be in the question, but just the polarization of these kinds of questions. As far as rather than saying people exaggerate problems they have at work, it's women. Is there a question? No, maybe there's a question coming up where it's like men exaggerate problems they have at work to then balance out the
No,
karma that
Kaysen.
we're racking
No,
up right
Kaysen.
now.
Of course,
No.
there's not. No.
That's a surprise.
Men don't-
There you go. All right. So I think because we said agree slightly on the other one, I think we should say disagree slightly, and maybe it'll balance out.
Sure.
What do you think? So that's the only reason I'm saying disagree slightly.
Yeah.
Is meta gaming
Yeah.
quiz, right?
Yeah, we're trying to.
Number 7.
system.
Once a woman gets a man to commit to her, she usually tries to put him on a tight leash.
That's the perception in like movies and stuff like that, and TV. I don't.
For me, that is the mass perception. Whether or
Right.
not that's true is what we should decide here. But
Yeah.
the perception is certainly that men that are in relationships get put on a leash and they are whipped and controlled by their
I could
by
think
their
of
partners.
one movie that I just saw again recently was Knocked Up, and the woman in there literally says, "You should train your man."
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, you're a bitch. Okay, got it."
Check.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Yeah.
So once a woman gets a man to commit to her, she usually tries to put him on a tight leash. So this is another one, like not all women,
Yeah.
but definitely
But
some
like,
women.
I think I would. What is it? Slightly agree slightly.
So should we just twiddle back and forth
Yeah.
between the slightlys? Okay. All right, number 8. When women lose to men in a fair competition, they typically complain about being discriminated against. When women lose to men in fair competition, they typically complain about being discriminated against.
I haven't personally experienced this, but you see a lot of stories about how like women aren't getting promotions because they're a woman, stuff like that. That's kind of along the same lines, right?
Feminists?
Yeah.
I mean, so if this was changed to say, when feminists lose to men in a fair competition, they typically complain about being discriminated against.
Strongly agree.
Strongly agree. Again, this is like a not applicable because we can't talk about all women.
Right. So disagree slightly,
So we'll
since we
just-
did agree slightly.
We're sucking at this test.
Yeah. No, this
You
test.
schmuck.
This test sucks ass. So
Yes.
let's get that in straight.
Many women get a kick out of teasing men by seeming sexually available and then refusing male advances. So teasing, right?
I mean,
Do you think many women? So this
it's
isn't
the
saying all
same
women.
shit, different question.
It says many women. Do many women get a kick out of teasing men?
I don't know, but
I don't think so.
I think some.
Some, yes.
Yeah.
Many? What's many?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Majority?
This is fucking stupid. All right. Disagree, right? Did we just do that? Is it agree time?
I don't know. Yeah, agree. Yeah.
Okay. Women, compared to men, tend to have a superior moral sensibility. Women tend to have a superior moral sensibility.
Hang on. I got to
that's
say
fucked
something.
up.
This is... Now I got something to say.
Now we're
Now
done.
I got something to say.
So one thing that I've noticed about these questions, I'll put the
triggered.
questions up. Yeah, I'm triggered right now.
triggered.
One thing I've noticed about these questions, they're all very nebulous terms. So women, compared to men, tend, how do you quantify tend? How do you qualify tend to have a superior moral sensibility? It's not something like, in general, women produce, I don't know, 100 shows a day, while men produce 90 shows a day, right? Or something like that. It's very nebulous terms, and I wanted to point that out. So,
Yeah.
anywho.
So can we do? I don't know. Shit.
No, I disagree strongly. I disagree absolutely. Women, compared to men, do not have a superior moral sensibility.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they have an inferior one.
Right. Right.
I'm saying there's evil people on both sides.
Yeah.
Women have done some evil shit in history. Men have done some evil shit in history.
I'm not gonna say like the scale is,
This is
slanted
stupid.
towards one way.
I'm disagreeing. You good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Men should be willing to sacrifice their own well-being in order to provide financially for the women in their lives.
If they sacrifice their own well-being and then they die, then they can't provide support anymore.
That's not what this is going for,
Oh.
like, maybe a man should work harder or work an extra job so his woman can stay home or work less. Or, I know.
Afraid I don't.
I know.
Afraid I don't know.
See, we're both on the same page, so. Number 12. Feminists are making unreasonable demands of men.
Agree strongly.
Oh, hell yeah.
What's your gender identity? So, I'm an attack helicopter. That's my gender
Okay.
identity. I identify as an attack helicopter.
I'm a silverback gorilla.
Kason, what's your gender?
What do you
identify?
got working with there?
Where is it? I am a gun. I am a gun.
Gun
That's what I
safety
am.
enthusiast.
I'm a gun safety enthusiast.
Unfortunately, none of those are on the list.
Others on the
I
list.
think
We can
we'll
go with
select
that.
other.
Let's do other.
Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
other. Woo!
Nice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Bonus points.
Number 14. Please identify your age range. Let's just go
I identify as 80 plus.
18 to 34. I think is probably the average between
Prefer
all of
not
us.
to answer.
Prefer? Yeah, let's just do it. Do you live in the United States? It asked for state. Let's go Texas. Let's see.
Hell yeah.
It's probably
Now we're
gonna-
definitely.
Whoa. There were too many states in that. Scroll down.
Now we're definitely sexist.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I was like, okay.
You're right. You're right.
There's 50 states in Texas, buddy.
We would have. To,
Oh, sorry, United States.
If we
not
only
Texas.
answered that question and that's Texas, they'd probably be like, "Oh, you're definitely sexist."
Yeah. Oh no, that was it.
Yeah.
All the other questions didn't actually do anything.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
just-
we're in Texas, so we're
Yeah,
sexist. That's
exactly.
That's what that was. I'm gonna put some college because this doesn't matter. Household income, not answer.
Hell yeah.
Here we go. Oh, hostile sexism.
We are above the average man and average woman for hostile sexism.
I'm so sexist, I'm hostile. I just go
Hostile?
out and start punching women in the face just because I hate them so much.
Hostile sexism describes behavior that overtly threatens, intimidates, or abuses women, especially those who defy male-dominated power. We scored a 3. Average man scored 2.2.
I have an important question,
Yeah.
and I'm going to send it to Patrick, as you in fact have a wife.
Okay.
Whenever you two got married and all, did you take a measurement to see, like, how do you rate the scale of 0 to 5 on hostile sexism? How do you quantify that? Not sure what that means. Can you explain that to me?
Number of black eyes that you give them?
And a little bit of blood
A little bit.
dripping down.
So this is
down the mouth.
Here, come here. So this is 1. This is 1 point. This is the second point, and then blood right here is the third point of hostile sexism. I don't know. Like,
Yeah. So I was in the office and just enjoying my Colombian coffee, and then this woman started complaining about her problems in the workplace. It really got me going.
oh my goodness. Okay.
I had the soccer one.
There are more results here. Let's scroll down.
there's not more.
Oh, yeah. So that was hostile sexism. Now we're going to talk about benevolent sexism. So I guess this means
Is this
that
what we're also benevolent sexists?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So benevolent sexism perpetuates gender-based prejudice more subtly, feeding the notion that wonderful but weak women need men to help and protect them, and ultimately justifies gender inequality. Our score is 0. The average man is 2.3. Average woman is 2. So we don't cut them any slack, and we also don't cut them any slack.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
No, wait. We don't. What?
We don't come in slack and we hate the shit out of them.
So we just got bad results all around.
Well, actually, to do a little callback for Ryan, we do not, in fact, subvert it. We don't do that.
Subvert it. This is interesting, just kind of as a reflection of how a feminist might see us. So we are hostile to women because we don't acknowledge that men are dominating them, and we are also condescending to them we're not well, I guess this one's good. Benevolent sexism is good, though.
We ranked below average, which I think it's like golf. Lower is better.
Yeah, so we're kicking ass on benevolent sexism. We're kicking ass.
We're so non-benevolent
Yeah.
sexist.
That one, we're better than the average woman score on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
suck on that.
Yeah.
All right.
We want you to do your own thing.
So that was our sexist test.
Well, now I know.
Now you know. Now you're half sexist.
Yep.
You silverback gorilla, you.
Watch it, you attack helicopter.
It's
That Hellfire missiles.
Okay, so now I've got a follow-up on last show where I tried to make the point, and I kind of stumbled through it a little bit, that gun regulation is kind of over, and people haven't realized it yet. It's kind of like it's going to take probably 15 more years for people to understand the gravity of what's transpired over the past few years, since 2011, when Cody Wilson released the Liberator, the 3D printable handgun. Okay, so I decided to kind of put rubber on the road and fire up my 3D printer. So let me show you this. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a 3D printed handgun. This is a real functioning firearm that I didn't buy from any store. I didn't even use a gun show loophole to trade between private people to obtain this. I hung out in my bedroom, sipping coffee, playing video games while creating a gun. It cost me about $25.
Beautiful.
Okay, no regulation, no government, not even a possibility for government involvement. You can't regulate digital. That ship sailed with music years ago. Do you understand? The point I was trying to make in that last show was that in the same way the ship has sailed on downloading MP3s of your favorite artists and your favorite musicians, and copyright is not enforceable anymore in that arena. And only a few years after that, once computers got to the point where they could handle it, now movies and video are no longer enforceable when it comes to copyright. Guess what else is no longer enforceable? So the point I was making is that anyone can do this. You can get a 3D printer that can probably do this for $400, $700 new, maybe even $200 if you buy used. $25 in plastic, you now have a handgun. So let's pull our heads out of our collective asses trying to come up with regulations to stop mass shootings when people can just print them. Your regulations can't work anymore. The ship has sailed. We need to instead concentrate on things that might work, right? Forming connections with people, talking to people. You know, if we have somebody that's starting to go off the rails in their life, we need to reach out to them. We need to care about them. We need to try and proactively get them the help that they need.
Mm.
You can't regulate that.
Right.
Anyway, so that was my point. I wanted to talk about that, and maybe we can do some cool 3D printing videos. Oh, and another thing, like I can now upgrade this. Like this is a 3D file on my computer. I pop it into my 3D design app, and I can now tweak this all I want. I can make a custom grip. I can like 3D scan my grip and make it perfectly fit my hand. I could upgrade it. I could give it a magazine. Who knows what I could do with this? Like that's not even limited to gun manufacturers anymore. And this is going to take off just like everything else that goes digital does, because anybody can mess with it now.
As a helpful reminder, do remind people to get the safety glasses. Can you print those yet? Can you print safety glasses for these?
They do have clear filament, but it is not clear enough.
I was excited for a moment. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you cannot, well, I mean, you could, but you wouldn't see very well.
Yeah, like you're pointing the wrong way, by the way.
Yeah. So it's just awesome, man. Like, this is a firearm.
Yeah.
And I just made it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm pointing it at you.
Whoa,
it's
whoa.
probably bad.
It doesn't have a firing pin.
Yeah.
Let's just
Yep.
get that straightened out.
And the legalities are kind of interesting, right? So nobody really knows, because it's kind of untested, whether or not, you know, it's legal to own these. Because obviously the law is always 50 years behind reality.
Yeah, they don't even know that you can do this yet. Whenever they look in your hand, it's just an empty hand.
Yeah, so the closest anybody comes is like, you know, there's like an Undetectable Firearms Act that requires that, you know, guns that you own or something like that have to have a certain amount of metal in them so they can be detected by metal detectors. Which is interesting. So how safe do you feel in the TSA now?
Yeah.
Like, how effective, how useful is the TSA when anybody can print these?
Also, without the
I
firing
didn't feel
pin...
sick beforehand.
Oh, also, without the firing pin, is it really a gun, though?
Okay, well, then we have to decide what the definition of a gun is. Like a fully assembled device that can fire bullets?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a lawmaker. I don't know these things.
Well, no one should be a lawmaker.
This has the same properties as a handgun, so it works.
It can't fire a bullet right now because I don't have the pin in it.
Yeah, but it works.
So.
It works in the same way. It's basically a handgun.
But so
No.
wouldn't that also include all the toys at your local super grocer that don't have a firing pin and don't have the capacity to fire, but they are a piece of plastic with a trigger that could actuate a fire pin, that could actuate a bullet?
Yep.
We need some child toy
No, what do you,
control.
I don't know what you're talking about, though. What do you mean? Something that actually has a firing pin in it?
No. So, like, if you go down to, you know, your local supermarket, there's normally the kids section. It's a big old aisle with all kinds of goodies in it. And one of those goodies is usually like a fake gun, and it's usually ridiculously colored. But let's say it shoots out darts or something. Slight modification, you could, in theory, put whatever you want into the chamber, couldn't you? Rather than a Nerf dart, it could be a bullet.
Yeah. That's kind of a stretch, but I could see it maybe. You know, you put Tabasco in a water gun. It's kind of the same thing. Shoot someone in the eyes.
I don't know if TSA would agree with that being the same thing, but
yeah.
But I mean, you know, just splitting the hair of, is it a gun, or like when is it a gun and when is it not a gun? How do you square that circle?
There's
How do you make that?
There's definitely a clarification on that somewhere. What is a gun and what is not a gun.
But the only reason we care about the definition of a gun is because there's an entity that can force that definition on our behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't feel safe about the TSA to begin with, so this changes really nothing for me.
Oh, you mean you didn't feel safe already?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt like I was going to get a free rub and tug whenever I went, but that's all I really felt.
I call it the pre-flight massage.
Yeah. That's all I really felt, though.
So last show, I told you guys about our first T-shirt, a new T-shirt to help support the Free Ross campaign to get hopefully his case gets approved for appeal, and hopefully we can get somebody that knows something about jury nullification on his jury to literally set the man free. So again, this is not for profit. Every penny I make on it will go to support his campaign. But again, here is the shirt. Let's see if can you see that? Nullify the FBI.
I can see it.
Hashtag Free Ross, hashtag jury nullification. And it's got a really cool YouTube channel at the bottom. So if you guys want this, links in the description. We have it both on our Zazzle, and we can also sell it on our Open Bazaar store if you guys are into that nerdy stuff. And then we also have some really cool content I want to kind of tease. We have a guy that's been serving on a grand jury. I don't want to go into details without his permission yet because there's some, I don't know, legalities involved there, and we don't want to affect the cases that he participated in. But he has been on a grand jury for months. Oh, I just said what kind of grand... anyway, he's been on a grand jury for months, and I think we're going to get him on the show over the next couple of weeks to talk about his experience and the people he freed and the people he was not able to free, and the good and bad, or the good that he was able to do and the bad that he was able to prevent.
Oh, yeah.
It's really exciting stuff. Like, I'm not into voting as a way to change the world because I think it legitimizes the system that is the problem. But this, I think, is a legitimate way to set people free, because even in a free world, you're going to have juries, and they're going to help determine guilt. And this is a way to make sure that victimless crimes go away. Whether or not the laws exist, if you're on a jury, you can set people free. You can literally free people.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So those shirts are there. And we also have a new poster. I love this one. This is a quote that was inspired by Stefan Molyneux. Experience true love. Be virtuous. Expect virtuousness. We also have a couple bumper stickers that are fun. And that is the end of my hawking goods. If you found this information informative, useful, or entertaining, please check us out on the socials. Consider tossing a couple coins in our hat. We've started a Patreon, which you can check out. All the links are in the description.
It reminds me, can we end with that video that you had up there? That's That's a funny ass
I
video.
almost forgot. Hit it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's some good stuff. It's a UK vintage, pretty recent. June 23rd, 2016. Tasty stuff. This is sort of an amalgam of the bloody tears of brain-dead Brussels busybody bureaucrats who might now actually have to go and get real jobs. Hey, Europe, want some?
Hey, have you
Awesome.
played? Did you remember the nameplates? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been a really fun show this time, and we're gonna keep it up.
Yeah.
So.
See you.
Bye, guys. Bye. Nameplates.
just to sign off.
You did the nameplates again.
Here you go.